In this video, I'm going to talk to you all about your college interview. Hey there! This video is going to talk to you about some tips for your college interview. If you're new here, my name is Sydney Montgomery. I'm the owner and founder of Montgomery Admissions Consulting, where I provide personalized college counseling and law school admissions consulting. Growing up in a Jamaican and military household, education was so important to my family. As a graduate of Princeton and Harvard Law School, and as the first lawyer in my family, I am passionate about helping my students break down generational barriers, step confidently into their purpose, and create communities for life. Today, I am so excited to talk to you about the interview process. I personally love interviews, and I say this as both someone who has been an interviewer and an interviewee. I actually got my start interviewing pretty young. I used to work for this company called Aristotle Circle, or peer-to-peer tutoring back in the day, and it was such a remarkable model, this concept that students learn best from other students. So even though I started as a tutor, I ended up working my way into human resources and became an application reviewer. So I would actually review some of the applications for students that wanted to work for our company, and part of that was conducting phone interviews. So I have been conducting interviews, oh my gosh, since I was about 16 years old, so it's over 10 years. And I also served as a Princeton Alumni Interviewer, and that was so much fun. So as someone who has been on both sides of the desk for numerous things, I want to talk to you about 3 reasons why they're important and also some tips. So the 3 reasons why your college interview is important, not as some people think because it's the way to get into school, because most people will tell you that your interview won't be the thing that gets you into school, but it could be the thing that keeps you out of a school. So interviews are important because they get to see your personality, because you actually get to learn, which is not what people think about when they think about interviewing, but you are interviewing the person on the other side almost just as much. You're interviewing for fit. And they help you in clarifying your goals and speaking articulately and clearly about yourself and where you see yourself going. And sometimes these are questions we don't think about until we're in this position of interviewing and having to think of these answers. So whether you're doing a college interview this season or whether you just want to learn more about your own goals, I think that these are really important questions to work on. Now for the tips. So I really love prepping students with the "tell me a little bit about yourself" question, because it's the question that trips people up the most. They're like, I don't know, who am I? This is why interviewing is such a great introspective exercise, because I want to know what's important to you. What do you value? I always tell students, you can land a job or nail an interview in 2 different ways. You can be the most qualified and the most knowledgeable candidate when you interview, or, and sometimes it's or you can make sure that the interviewer loves you by the end. You can really connect with them. And one of those things you can't control. When you're going up for a job or an internship, you can't always control if you're the most qualified candidate. But you do have some control over the connection you make with the interviewer and whether they really love you and connect to you. So I always say that "tell me a little bit about yourself" question is your moment to shine. Don't just tell me what's on your resume. Who are you? Are you a big brother, a big sister? Do you love drawing in your free time? Do you play the ukulele? What are some things about you that I can't tell from the paper? What makes you thrive? What is your why? And then really be able to convey that in a concise way. I almost learn more about what you don't include in this answer than what you do include. The second tip is to make sure that you speak slower than you think. And I had a huge issue with this growing up. As I mentioned, I'm Jamaican, and Jamaicans talk fast. And actually, I really had to practice speaking slower. And there's this amazing thing that happens when you speak slower. You get rid of a lot of those because those verbal tics really come from your brain not quite keeping up with how fast you're speaking. Be comfortable with pauses. Be comfortable going a little bit slower. The interviewer is not going to cut you off if you pause in between your answer to think about and gather your thoughts. This will help you speak intentionally. Also, show your personality. Smile. Don't be afraid to have a little fun. Some of the best interviews I did with students who were interviewing for Princeton was when we really connected or we shared a joke or we could laugh. I love laughing. As an interviewer myself, sometimes I get nervous or they might be boring. So if I had an interview with a student that made me laugh, oh my goodness, it was so great. Now, of course, you want to be appropriate. You don't want to be cracking weird jokes, but just relax a little bit. You don't need to come in a full suit for your college interview. I went out and bought a whole suit. My first interview was with an Ivy League school, and I was so nervous. And I didn't know what to do, and my parents, didn't know what to do. They didn't go to college traditionally, just from high school to college, and so we went out and bought a whole suit, which was completely not necessary. Wear something nice. Maybe I say something like you're going to go to church, or a really nice dinner with your parents. So for girls, that could be a dress or nice business pants, a sweater. You don't have to wear a button-down shirt, but you could, or just a nice blouse with some nice jewelry maybe. For guys, that could look a couple of different ways. Whether you wear a tie or not is up to you, but you just want to look like you're going somewhere nice. Like you tried. Maybe not your blue jeans and your t-shirt that has the name of the band that you really like written across it. Come prepared with questions. I think this is also where students get tripped up, is they only think that the interview goes one way. But I want you to use the time to ask me about my favorite moments at a school, what I would do differently, where I could see the university going, how I've enjoyed my career path, any advice you have. I love those type of questions because, again, they allow me to connect with you and they allow me to like you. And so when I go to write that letter or whatever recommendation they have, if it's an alumni interview, they all have different processes. If it's with the actual admissions and it's an evaluative interview, of course, they might have some kind of notes, but they're going to write positive things because you've left a positive impression. They have felt emotionally good in the interview because maybe you laughed or you smiled at something. They got to talk about their favorite moments in college, which always makes you feel really great and warm, and they feel like you really cared and listened as a person and you weren't some stiff robot. So that's my advice for the college interview season. All of you are so special. You may not think that you've done anything in the 17 years of your life, but I bet if you thought about it and you dug deep, you could find some really amazing passions, some things that you love to talk about, some cool experiences you've had, and some awesome hopes and goals you have for the future. If you've liked this video, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to my channel so that you can stay up to date on all new videos. And if you want guidance through the application process, I would love to meet you and work with you and your family. Just follow the link below to learn more about what I do. I'll talk to you soon.